of Ernie Banks. Let's play two, a doubleheader to wrap up day 2 of this series. Towson and NC State. Last night it was a walk-off win for the Wolfpack. Today we got 18 innings of fun, beginning with this game 1 at Doak Food at Dill Park, and then some spike ball on the Ocho to keep you entertained on a busy Saturday at college baseball. Welcome here to Raleigh with Sean Adler. I'm Evan Budrovich. Towson showed great resolve last night, tying the game in the 9th. But NC State, the true freshman Drew Lanphier, pulled off the walk-off win.
Yeah, Lanphier got a really good 1-2 count pitch, was able to take it the other way. And I think really what it came down to was NC State had a couple more balls go in their direction, and that's what contributed to them winning the game.
The Wolfpack have won 10 straight in the series, but this was a really close game last night. Give credit to Towson catcher Brian Heckelman fueling the rally, but what impressed you, Sean, about the Wolfpack's ability to pull out that game?
I just thought they were really resilient. Every time Towson was able to kind of come back and, reduce the lead that NC State had, NC State was able to respond with another run or another big inning. So I think kudos to them on being able to respond to what Towson was able to fight with.
This is game 1 of this doubleheader, and the Wolfpack roll out a traditional starter, Dom Fritton. This is his 10th career start. He's moved back into the rotation here in year 2. What do the Wolfpack need from Fritton today?
He's a guy that you're going to have 3 really good pitches. As long as he's kind of around the zone and staying low in the zone, he's going to get a lot of swing and miss action, a lot of weak contact. So kind of staying within what he's known to do is what's going to help him today.
Went 3 2/3 in Honolulu against Hawaii last week. He'll face a Towson order that sprung together 8 hits yesterday. It was a great performance for Brian Heckelman, 3 for 4. 2 new starters in Coach Matt Tyner's lineup. Stephen Vrolick will move into center, and Chris Akers works behind the plate. So the challenge for Towson today is replicating that 5 runs of success yesterday.
Yeah, but at the same time, I feel like there should be a level of confidence they have, knowing that how close the game was. I mean, they took it to the bottom of the 9th for NC State to win. So the fight that Towson has should really give them a little bit of momentum going into the rest of the weekend, hopefully.
There's Matt Tyner, who was a standout at Miami, and he's without this weekend starting shortstop Casey Bishop. So Jordan Payton will move over to short, and this is a Towson team off to a slow start. They've lost 6 straight, but really competitive on Friday night. Matt Tyner's club picked in the bottom third of the CAA entering this new season. And you ready, Sean? 18 innings of adventure.
Let's do it.
Let's get this thing rolling here. Thanks to our production crew, including Josh Monk, who is doing a lot of work behind the scenes to get this thing rolling. So Dom Fritton works upstairs to begin game 1 of this doubleheader. Jordan Payton, who was 1 for 4 yesterday, leads things off. It was the free passes that helped benefit Towson last night, and a couple of NC State errors. Wolfpack fielding it at 966. That's in the middle of the ACC right now. No surprise, Virginia leads the conference, 982 fielding percentage. That time, Dom Fritton finds the zone. He was the closer for the Wolfpack in the final 2 months of his freshman campaign. Now back in the starting rotation this year. And works to a 3-2. Fritton's payoff pitch is swung on and missed. Good use of the fastball to climb out of that count.
Yeah, once he can dial down that fastball, he's going to be able to, repeat the same location over and over and over. Usually you get, first inning jitters. Once you're able to kind of collect your thoughts and compete, you start to get into that rhythm, and you're able to command the strike zone a little bit better.
Dom Fritton with his 10th strikeout of the year, and gets weak contact from Elijah Dickerson. Elijah was fantastic in left. And part of a Towson order that has 3 seniors today. And what a wicked bender there from Fritton.
Yeah, he has the ability to really make that slider move from, if you're starting that at the left-handed shoulder or the left-handed batter's shoulder, that's going to go right across the plate, and it's really going to mess with the batter's eye.
Tries it again, and a good take. He's got Jacob Kozart behind the plate, all ACC catcher, who's been off the last 2 days. How does that benefit Fritton today to have Cozart back there?
Well, the biggest thing is they have history. They worked a lot together last year, so Cozart knows Fritton just as well as Fritton knows Fritton.
And his defense helps him there. There's Pennington with the catch. NC State defensively, very similar lineup to last night. Matt Hebner will stay at second base. Nixon will stay in left field, and a talented outfield trio with Serrano and Souls out there. They cover a lot of ground for NC State. You see Chase Nixon there getting the final signals as that ball's fouled off. Because on one hand, the infielders have the tracking system that sends the signs, but the outfielders don't. So you are in a little bit of a guessing game. Yeah,
it's a little bit more tricky. It's more of a mental game when you're in the outfield when it comes to kind of understanding this type of stuff, just because they're limited in distance-wise. It's just tough for them to really know exactly what's going on as well as the infielders.
Here's Bryce Frederick taking strike three. Dom Fritton threw the first 3 pitches of the inning out of the zone. He was locked in since. And a 1-2-3 efficient inning for Fritton.
Everybody in my house knows how to ride a bike except me. People ask, how your children learn how to ride a bike? And you didn't. I didn't teach them. I just created an environment where they taught themselves, and all I had to do was be there.
You know, how you feel on the inside is just as important to me as how you feel on the outside.
Oh, Daddy.
I'm grown up, in every way, care and take care of you. You're my grown up, and I know you're there.
I'm grown up, and you know I care.
'Cause it's you and me and me and you.
So when you are okay or not okay, I'll take care of you.
Greatness is a feeling, a moment, a choice, unrelenting, a team effort. Greatness is accomplishing on this field and this one. Greatness is more than winning the game. It's changing it. Greatness is what we do. Accomplish greatness.
Tyler Russo, longtime reliever in his junior campaign, 17 outings this year, now moves into the rotation today. And yesterday, Towson used 2 weekend arms to try to win that game 1. How important is this start for Russo?
Well, with Russo, the biggest thing is you want to see how long you can go. We still have 3 full games ahead of us, so being able to lengthen your outing and reduce the number of guys coming out of the bullpen is going to help their pitching staff in the long run.
Russo made 4 starts in the COVID year. He has not started a game in the last 4 seasons. 41 innings of work for Tyler. He'll face an NC State offense that a couple outings against Wofford and FAU, and the Towson pitching staff was hit around against FAU. They gave up 30 runs. Did a much better job yesterday, and 2 of the dominant arms got the relief appearances, but they did a nice job.
Yeah, I really feel like my outtake on Towson's pitching staff yesterday was from the defensive end that their pitching staff was the one that really kind of kept them in it. I mean, it's not like they had unbelievable stuff going their way yesterday. It's not like they had, serious velocity and really great break on any of their stuff, but their pitch ability, their ability to hit their spots had really helped them, and it was keeping NC State's offense kind of off balance for the most part.
Justin Reebok threw 4 innings of quality effort out of the pen. He's a typical weekend starter, but knowing in these 4-game sets, you got to steal a game for either team. That's up ball flips in for a strike. Both teams have TBD starters for the next game today. So it really does come down to how your bullpen gets taxed in this game, too.
I think a lot of the decision-making on Towson's end is going to get based off of what happens today. I think they're trying to see what ends up kind of happening throughout the game, and that's going to dictate who they're going to start the next game after that tomorrow.
Souls an easy stolen base. So that's his second swipe of the year. NC State not traditionally an aggressive base stealing team, only 6 of 8, but they had a really good jump on Tyler Russo. A Towson staff that last year had a 6.9 ERA. Wiggling into some jam here against Garrett Pennington. Oh, that gets away. Oh, and then Souls is halfway back to second. Good throw, and he's gone down. Akers behind the plate. Excellent play.
Not only was that great heads-up baseball with Akers, catching, but you have your infield communicating to him saying, hey, like, this is what's going on the base path with your runner. You want to make sure you get that ball back to second base. I mean, he caught him right in the middle of the base path and was able to get an out right there.
Souls was caught with how quickly that ball came back to Akers. He didn't know where to go.
Yeah.
And now a walk to Pennington.
I think for the most part, though, you tend to see that ball kind of go towards the backstop, and you automatically assume that runner's going to take the next base. But that's some big-time communication right there, too, with Towson's defense trying to get them to get that out back at the second base.
Great throw from Chris Akers behind the plate. That's the first runner he's caught stealing all year. Remember Towson's pitching staff, they had some trouble. Opponents are 15 of 17 stealing bases. So the switch hitting Alec Makarevich will hit from the right side. His average is nearly identical from both sides of the plate. He homered from both sides in a big win over Hawaii last weekend. And he rips one through the left side. So the first hit of the game for NC State.
And I would argue that makes you even more threatening as a hitter. If your average is pretty similar against lefties and righties, I feel like you tend to see a lot of guys that hit better against the opposite hand versus, a matchup hand. But for you to show that you can hit for average, same average, lefties and righties, it's kind of an extra tool that you have in your repertoire.
Makarevich now a hit in every game this season. And here's the all-ACC catcher, Jacob Cozart, who has DH'd or come off the bench the last 2 games. You'd figure for Cozart he'll start 1 behind the plate and 1 as a DH. Something to keeping these guys' legs fresh for a 56-game sprint.
I'm a big believer in that you really can't get through an entire season with just one catcher. It's the most physically
Cozart has shared duties with Lamphere behind the plate, and we saw what he did with the walk-off hit yesterday. Alex Sosa, also part of that catching rotation. He has a couple of starts. I wouldn't be surprised if he sneaks in this weekend.
And that's also, a really good problem to have. Not only having 3 guys that you can rely on behind the plate, but all 3 of them for all intents and purposes, they can swing the bat relatively well too. So you have 3 valuable catchers that you can interchange at any point in the season.
You have Cozart, a top 5 catcher in the country according to many national polls, and this ball gets away. It'll load the bases anyway. You have 2 freshmen that are among the top 100 players in the country, both catchers, and both highly regarded. So there is a luxury of riches if you're Elliot Avon.
It's interesting. This is the second or third time that the ball's got past the catcher, and I'm not sure if it's because Russo hasn't seen the mound a whole lot this year so far, so him and your catcher have not been able to kind of get on the same pages consistently, or maybe it's his arm action. I've noticed his arm action is a very quick, kind of short arm action that it allows the illusion of the ball kind of getting up a little bit quicker than normal, just because it's kind of a funkier delivery.
That's led to 3 pass balls, and here's Jake Bechtel, the Palm Harbor, Florida product. He had his first career home run in the Hawaii series. And coming out of high school, very highly regarded, top 25 outfielder in the country. Russo's having trouble locating that breaking ball today, and it's 3-0. Are you swinging 3-0 here if you're Bechtel?
No, I definitely wouldn't be swinging 3-0. I really think he's having a little bit of trouble. Definitely throwing the fastball. He was commanding that breaking ball earlier on in the inning, but now it's almost like he's lost it. So,
first start in 4 years for Tyler Russo. He's been a bullpen option the last 3 for Towson. And not even close with a breaking ball. So it's a 3-1 count. A very taxing first inning for redshirt senior Tyler Russo. And he gives up a walk to get things started for NC State. Remember, the lone out of this game was a nice defensive play from his catcher, Chris Akers.
I think if you're Serrano right now at the plate, the biggest thing is make him throw you the pitch that you need in order for you to do some serious damage, in this at bat. He's not commanding the strike zone necessarily that consistently right now, so don't try and bail him out and allow him to try and get you out. Challenge him, for lack of a better term.
There's the pitching coach, Mike Rupenthal. And these are always hard conversations. You want your pitcher, obviously, to stay mentally locked in, but you're almost just resetting things.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you have an inning kind of like this where you're starting to let guys on and it starts to sway more so on your opposition's direction, it's really good just to call time and get out there just to break up kind of the I feel like pitchers sometimes they allow the situation to get a little bit faster, and you're almost on kind of like rinse, repeat, where you're just kind of going through the motion. So just having a little bit of a break right there, kind of like what you said, to reset everything is hopefully what he needs.
Mike Rupenthal, the former pitching coach at Oakland University. And a miss here for Russo. So Eli Serrano and the Wolfpack, they've taken 4 walks already. Working a bases loaded situation early in this first inning. Serrano was 1 for 3 yesterday, scored a couple of runs, but hitting the 2 spot. He slides down to the 6 hole today. That was really the first example of a changeup there from Russo. He's been very looping curve fastball heavy.
Yeah, it's been pretty much 2 pitches, and it's interesting too because you'd think against you have lefty on lefty, you're going to go fastball breaker, but having a 3rd pitch always helps.
That ball is drilled through the right side. Serrano delivers 1. Cozart will hold there, and an RBI single extends this inning. I will say the Wolfpack have been sitting on that fastball and taking advantage of it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not necessarily an overpowering fastball, so just trying to see it in the zone and finding a pitch that you can handle, that's really what's going to help them in their success against Russo. I think if you look at the inning overall, this is an inning that NC State really needs to capitalize on, because I really feel that at the end of the game, it's going to come down to who has a bigger inning, who doesn't have, a bigger inning. So if you're able to manufacture 3, 4, 5 runs in an inning, I think that's going to allow a little bit more or a little bit less energy on Towson's end to try and get back into this, because we saw yesterday they were very much, it was a 2 or 3 run game and they were very much chipping away. So if you're able to, create a bigger gap, it's going to make it harder for them to actually stay competitive today.
It was a 6-5 game last night. And a Towson team that in this 6-game losing streak, they've allowed 10 or more runs 4 times, right? So to your point, you can have those ballooned pitching efforts, and it makes it really challenging for an offense. Chase Nixon working with the bases juiced.
And if you look at kind of historically how these 2 teams have played against each other, it's been decided very much so with a 1 or 2 run game. So this is why you really want to make sure if you're able to swing the bat really well and create big innings for yourself, you do as much as you can to take advantage of those.
Nixon off the end of the bat, and it works perfectly. The throw gets away, so an infield single. Nixon there put in a great spot.
Yeah, not necessarily the hit that he wanted, kind of more of a swinging bunt, but you're challenging the infield to kind of move in and try and get that ball and get you out. So, and what it's doing is it's just forcing Russo to throw more and more pitches. We see him right now at a 30 pitch count in the first inning with only one out. So if you're looking at the long-term goal of what you want to be able to use a bunch of guys out of Towson's bullpen. You want to face a bunch of guys so that they don't have as many arms ready to go for game 3, game 4.
Jackson Van Tassel. That's an elite name, by the way.
I like that name.
Warming up in Towson's bullpen right now. Matt Hefner gets his second straight start in the series. Yeah, Sean, you're a left-handed pitcher. Talk me through some of the control issues on that breaking ball.
You know, it's tough because I feel like lefties have more of kind of that slider action naturally, and I feel like there's more room for error when you have a breaking ball that's horizontal rather than vertical. You know, when you have something that's up and down, I feel like it's easier to get guys to swing at it because it looks and gives that appearance that it's more in the zone. When you have something that starts away out of the zone and breaks over the zone, you're going against guys that are a little bit more naturally plate disciplined.
Hefner drills one to center. There's Vralik with the catch. Both runners tag, and everyone's safe, so it's 4-0 NC State. Hefner with his 4th RBI of the year.
And I would also argue breaking balls more so than fastballs, when you allow the game to speed up and you don't kind of keep your tempo nice and slow and easy, the breaking ball is what misses the most.
Wow, the runner left early, which I believe also takes a run off the board. NC State's going to challenge this. So hold on a second. You're allowed to challenge these type of plays. When did the runner leave when the ball was caught? So our crew chief and third base umpire, Thomas Newsom's going to take a look. They're questioning whether Eli Serrano left early or not. It's not as if Vralik had some fancy deke or he faked him out, you know? The officials continue to check out this play. Okay, here's the look that they're most likely seeing. Okay, watch Serrano there at second. Oh, it looks like he did leave early.
So what I'm seeing at second base is I'm seeing his body start to move, but I can't confirm totally, in my opinion, if he left before the ball was caught.
If that foot comes off. Great
right.
point.
That's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at his foot.
Yeah, confirming here if it's Serrano. Because you're right, Sean. It's like the caboose starts moving down the train tracks.
You start to get your body in motion without your legs totally contributing to your movement yet.
Yeah, it was a very traditional catch. There wasn't any disguising or faking of that play.
It's also just really hard to see when the ball actually gets to his mitt.
Okay, look at this angle. So right there is when the ball's caught. This is actually going to be an awesome angle. Oh! Ah, that foot still seems to be on the base to me.
Yeah.
I mean, he's definitely moving, but where's his foot position? So now the umpires try to piece together a couple different angles and come up with a verdict.
There might be enough right there to overturn that call and say, you know what, I think he stayed put until the ball was caught, but it is really, really close.
Yeah, you're right. The call on the field was out, so you have to have the term inconclusive video evidence.
Right.
Everyone's favorite term in college broadcasting.
Say that 10 times fast.
So the umpires have now come out with a decision. Let's see. Okay, the call is overturned. To your point, I think there's enough there.
Yeah.
to stick with that call.
And by no means was it obvious at all. It was very, very close. But I do think there was just enough to actually sway it in the Wolfpack's direction.
The explanation coming out of the Towson staff with Coach Matt Tyner. So Serrano walks the tightrope. He's okay. And now it's 4-0 on the sack fly. So in comes Brandon Butterworth. Butterworth is 0 for 4 in this series, the Western Carolina transfer.
I think it's safe to say, too, he's kind of just given that show-me pick. It's not his best move over to first base.
Nixon staring him down. And this ball sneaks away, so an extra run comes in. And that, to me, seems like a pitcher thinking about a million different thoughts right now.
Yeah, no, that's true. But, you know, at the same time, I will say this. When you have an offense as dynamic as NC State's offense is, and you know that you're probably going to have to compete today with runners in scoring position, it's really important that you have Akers do what he can to body up. If that ball's in the dirt and it's going to ricochet off his body, at least try to keep it in front of him so that it doesn't allow the runner on third base to score.
Makes it 5-0 NC State. Oh, hang on. This ball is dangerous. And if you're Chris Akers back there, it has been an adventure behind the plate.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not even saying it's all his fault. It's just been a hard combination.
No, that one, that's tough just because, I mean, that's considered a wild pitch, not necessarily a pass ball. So I would say the ones that are lower in the dirt, you know, kind of lower in the zone, you want to make sure you at least try do what you can to body up. Some of those wild pitches, it's really tough to keep that in front of you.
Brandon Butterworth had a 4-game hit streak end last night. He's the 9th batter to come to the plate. There's been 4 free passes and make it 5 there. So now the lineup turns around in this first inning. And I understand if you're Towson here, you don't want to burn your pen too early, but you also want the game to be within striking distance. Here comes the head coach, Matt Tyner, out there. Coach Tyner, a longtime pitching coach. And he'll make the change. So we got our first trip to the bullpen if you're Towson. This is a doubleheader day. And a couple of new arms coming in when we return.
Want to get the most out of one sheet? Grab Bounty. Bounty is made to be stronger and more absorbent. So while ordinary brands can't hold up, one sheet of Bounty keeps working even when wet. Now that's the sound of value. Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
There they are. Everybody get their banking done?
Let's go, drive, we gotta go.
Someone's in a hurry. And 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi.
Can we go?
Yeah, faster. Oh, no, siree. You see, I get discounts for my safe driving with Snapshot from Progressive. You should see my savings. They're nuts.
You told us he was a skilled wheelman.
No, I'm a wheelman. His family name on my mother's side. What? Irish.
Today, I'm excited to show you let's dive in.
What a beautiful day. It's so nice. Let's play 2 today, Sean. A little doubleheader on tap. NC State rolling here in this first inning. 5 runs. They've taken advantage of 5 free passes. So Tyler Russo's day is done. And elite college baseball name Jackson Van Tassel comes in for his not only 3rd outing, but only his 7th career outing. He's been really good this year, yet to allow a run. And Now you're sort of in mop-up duty if you're Van Tassel here in the first.
Yeah, I mean, you can call it mop-up duty, but he's basically, for all intents and purposes, Towson's new starter for the day. You want to see what you can do to try and get as deep in this game as possible. You want to save the pitching staff for the rest of the series. See what you can do to try and salvage something right now.
2 innings, all scoreless in his first 2 weeks. And he'll face an extremely patient Wolfpack lineup. 5 walks so far. Oh, a little sidearm pick to first. Keeping tabs there on Butterworth. Did not take long for Noah Souls' jersey to be completely caked as the runner takes off. Good throw by Akers. And I think that sort of surprised the shortstop there, Peyton.
Well, you know, you have a 5-0 lead. Even though it's early in the game, they're probably not thinking there's a huge threat when it comes to the run game, but also you want to reduce the potential double play that there is. Well, actually, no, there wouldn't be a double play. It's 2 outs. So, but even the lead out at second base.
So now 1-0 count to Souls. Wow, Chris Akers has earned his keep behind the plate today. Remember, starting shortstop Casey Bishop is out for the weekend, so a lot of changing on the Towson infield, and there's a strike. To the folks who do the laundry of Noah Souls, I give them a ton of credit, because that jersey is always caked in dirt.
That's probably why they went with like cream color today, is because they
not as pure white, a little easier to power wash out. As there's a hit by pitch. I've seen the power washers they use, like the spraying hoses that shoot out at a certain speed and power. Give credit to all these equipment staffs, because these doubleheaders can be a lot of work getting uniforms ready, extra pair of socks, you name it. And that's why we love baseball this time of the year. You always get something. And now a balk is called. So Van Tassel will give away a free run here for Nixon. I believe he brought the ball out of his mitt when he was sitting on the mound.
That's what I saw. I think you're right.
Well, we have 2 Nixons in the lineup. There could be a Watergate investigation of that balk, but we'll let it slide. Let's figure this one out. Oh. Interesting. And then a good breaking ball there. So once you're set or claimed to be set, you cannot then reset.
Yeah, that's what I thought. He kind of had some movement in his glove with his holding the ball.
That seems part of his natural motion, though, too, where he's sort of delaying that set to throw off timing.
Yeah, it's interesting. I've seen umpires actually not call that a balk at times if you're repeating that as your delivery over and over and over. So I think a lot of umpires look at it. I know there's a certain rule on what's considered a balk or not a balk. But I do know that a lot of umpires will kind of consider it if it's not your normal motion that you've been doing over and over and over throughout the game.
That was called a strike on Pennington, the check swing down there. So Pennington works the count full.
I thought that was a great pitch with this fastball. I was able to command it lower inside part of the plate, but I feel like the breaking ball has really messed with Pennington this at bat. I would have thrown another breaker just to see what he would do. He had some check swing on that 2 pitches ago.
Van Tassel to the heat. Oh, and that stays down. So adding to the hit by pitch, adding to the walk totals. 6 free passes here for Towson.
We're talking about what's happened this half inning. It's 6 free passes, but also there's been some wild pitches that have allowed runners to move from base to base as well.
Here's Alek Makarevich now from the left side of the plate. Amac last year hit .320 from the left and hit just a touch above .290 from the right at East Carolina. He comes as a grad transfer He's certainly secured that left side of the infield and has shown some nice pop here in the first 3 weeks.
Well, generally, if you're going to play the corners in the infield, you have to generally kind of have those power numbers.
How about this swing to center? Just got underneath it, but then the center fielder, Vralik, lost it and recovers. Wow, those sunglasses came just in handy there for Vralik to end the inning. A bit of an adventure for Towson in that first inning. The Bats will look to equalize when we come back.
Can a handyman fix my leaky faucet?
How much does it cost to have my HVAC checked?
How do I know I have mold?
Why do water pipes freeze?
Home questions don't have to keep you up at night. Get peace of mind with Thumbtack. We'll connect you with local pros for any home project, from a small fix to a big remodel. See transparent prices, read verified reviews, and book with just a tap. Thumbtack, the easy way to care for your home.
Question. What would you get with almost $750?
Easy. I'd buy a smartwatch like that guy.
Makes sense. Use that GPS for your poor sense of direction.
Excuse me? My grandfather was a homing pigeon. My internal compass is genetic.
Must have skipped a generation.
I'm a walking GPS.
Okay. Which way is north? Okay, that's up, not north.
I should get the watch.
Switch to Progressive and you could save hundreds to spend on whatever you dream up.
You done yet? It's 2 a.m. Why are you still scrolling through videos? You're not paying me overtime here. If you really want to see something new, why not change those shades that have been broken for the past 2 years? Let's tap the Thumbtack app, and in a matter of seconds, we'll find a pro to install new shades.
Okay.
With Thumbtack, you can easily find top-rated professionals for every home project.
Thumbtack, the easy way to care for your home.
Fans here at NC State searching for the magical four-leaf clover. Well, I have some bad news for the kids. They're hard to find. The good luck for the Wolfpack is they have 6 runs here early as part of this doubleheader day. And look, it's lucky number 6. Matt Hefner, back-to-back games over at second. And we talked about it this year, Sean. The Wolfpack experimenting a bit with that second base position.
Yeah, and I think the reason why the coaching staff feels so comfortable doing so is because you got a lot of versatility with most of your guys defensively. We've seen guys play multiple positions. Hefner over there at second base. We've seen Eli Serrano last season play first base, and now he's commanding the outfield and center field. Noah Souls has been all over the outfield.
It's a Wolfpack defense. You're right. Serrano was the starting first baseman last year. He moves to center. You graduate 2 starting outfielders. And there is the dirtiest man in the ballpark, and I mean that from a baseball standpoint. It's like he wakes up in the morning and says, I have a dream of diving all over the place, stealing bases, making things happen.
That's exactly the type of ball player that Coach Avent really likes. So he's all about having guys on his staff that are hard-nosed. They're not afraid to get dirty. They play hard. So he very much epitomizes kind of the philosophy of what is necessary to be on an NC State baseball team.
120 career games for Souls, who backs up a 1,000-game winner here now at NC State. Elliot Avent just reached that mark last week. That was a player in Souls who was a big contributor on their last trip to Omaha in 21. It's interesting here in Raleigh, 14th ranked in the preseason and have sat in that mark the first 3 weeks. Maybe not the national championship expectations, but here they sit now with a chance to host a regional if you fast forward 3 months from now.
Yeah, and I think if you look at yesterday's game, that's a great example of a game that's going to test a lot of these players in terms of, being very, very close and run differential, what it's going to take. It comes down to a big hit. So that's what you're going to see kind of May, June, time frame when it comes to playoff baseball.
Heckelman tips that one foul, the All-CAA catcher for Towson. These are 2 elite catching prospects. Cozart, a top 10 prospect in the country, draft eligible, and Heckelman, preseason All-CAA back there. He'll be the DH today and earns the walk. He was electric with the bat yesterday, and if you're fretting, you just sat on the bench for basically 30 minutes and you have to bounce right back.
Yeah, no, it's tough. I'd say if there's any position on the field that is very much about routine, it's got to be your pitcher. You know, everything is repetitive. Everything is the same thing over and over and over. So when you're sitting for so long, it really throws off kind of the cadence, if you will, that a pitcher tries to stay within.
He needed 11 pitches in the first. He struck out 2. It was pretty quick, very routine.
And after going 3-0 on your first guy, was able to battle back at a strikeout and then get another 2 quick outs. So
he comes back out 30 minutes later.
But we saw during last half inning when NC State was hitting, he was playing a little bit of light catch down the line just to try and stay semi-fresh.
Butterworth bobbles it, and then he trips, so everyone's safe. Looks like some tough footing there for the Western Carolina transfer.
Yeah, he did a good job getting to the ball. He was able to cover ground all the way to the right to make sure he got behind it. I think it was just a footing issue.
Oh, yeah, his foot just slid underneath him.
Because he wasn't even needing to backhand that ball. He was able to, get his glove right in front of him.
So here comes Clint Chrysler. There was a good amount of rain yesterday. Obviously, the tarp's a factor, but it's not the driest conditions out there.
Right.
You could even tell from Clint Chrysler's demeanor. Like, I can read his body language, how he's breaking down that discussion. For his young starting pitcher, Dom Fritton, who was a freshman All-American last year. But NC State wants him back in the rotation. They've moved Logan Whitaker to the bullpen. He may start or pitch a few innings this week, but he's largely a bullpen arm. So here's that number 2 spot behind Sam Heifel. And to Towson's credit, this is an opportunity to really make some things happen in the second.
Yeah, I mean, what you want to do is you want to basically take the fact that they were playing defense and pitching for so long as a plus, because at that point you have Fritton that was sitting so long, so it's been hard for him to get into his rhythm. He's already into a little bit of trouble this early in the inning.
Here's a 2-0 count to Tay Robinson. He is so crafty. 2 infield singles that both died like 30 feet from the plate. One of those singles helped score the tying run in the 9th inning yesterday. He did attempt at that pitch. And you see Cozart there with some defensive signs. This is stuff you spend months in January and February perfecting. Both corners ready to crash. And Robinson will test the first baseman. And the decision to go to first there for the first out.
And, really, ideally, if you can get that out at third base, that would be, the prime decision right there and the prime move. But when you have a runner that was already getting a pretty good jump and a pretty good lead, what you want to do is you just want to kill the play at third base and basically get back to first base and try and at least manufacture one out.
It looked like with Pennington's body position, he didn't feel comfortable throwing that to first. Like, he had the time, but he didn't trust himself.
Right.
Because if that throw gets away, then it's 6-1. There's runners on.
And think about it, too. It really didn't get that deep into the infield. You could argue that could have been Cozart's ball to get as well. And the fact that he had to run in so much, it's hard for you to break down your feet and be able to make that play at third base.
It's a little different if you're left-handed, I would assume, at first.
Yeah, it's a little bit easier. You're already in a position to actually make more of a natural throw over to third base.
Steven Vralik. Vralik, the sophomore, he's an environmental science major, and he wanted someone deep into the trees here in Raleigh. Good pitch there from Fritton. Dom Fritton needed just 11 pitches to get through the first. He's in some trouble here in the second. And then goes to the heat. Third strikeout for Dom.
Yeah, that one had a little bit of giddy up on it, too, and really, really good location. That one, what you want to try and do is you got a 0-2-1-2 count where you're able to elevate that fastball, maybe kind of middle in where you can't get a good amount of the barrel on it. That's exactly what he was able to do right there. Get that back to essentially go right under the ball.
2 outs for Chris Akers, who has earned his keep behind the plate. It has not been an easy day defensively. Akers, the Southwestern Illinois College transfer. He's still searching for his first D1 college hit. He's 0 for 9 this year and swings through that one. Getting that monkey off the back, right? That proverbial first hit. And Fritton challenges him right down the middle.
What we've seen so far with Fritton is that, he's gotten into some trouble where he's thrown, 2, 3, 4 consistent pitches out of the zone, but then is able to dial it back in and actually just compete pitch after pitch, especially with this fastball. He's not just locating it in the right spot of the strike zone, but he's not even getting decent contact when it comes to what Towson's been able to do.
A walk and an error have fueled this inning. So Fritton looks to escape it himself. Line drive to center. And Serrano with plenty of room to wrap that one up. Towson strands 2. NC State, they are rolling here in game 1 of this doubleheader.
There they are. Everybody get their banking done?
Let's go, drive, we gotta go.
Someone's in a hurry. And 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi.
Can we go?
Yeah, faster. Oh, no, siree. You see, I get discounts for my safe driving with Snapshot.
Wheelman.
No, I'm a wheelman. His family name on my mother's side. What? Irish. Wheelman. His family name on my mother's side. What? Irish.
Today I'm
Drive, we gotta go.
Someone's in a hurry. And 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi.
Can we go?
Yeah, faster. Oh, no, siree. You see, I get discounts for my safe driving with Snapshot from Progressive. You should see my savings. They're nuts.
You told us he was a skilled wheelman.
No, I'm a wheelman. His family name on my mother's side. What? Irish.
All the parts you need at the prices you want. Guaranteed to fit every time. So you can keep your ride or die alive.
So Jackson Van Tassel into a tight battle here, facing an all-conference, all-American candidate, Jacob Cozart. One thing, his defensive attributes, but even on the offensive end, number 8 overall draft prospect, 10 home runs as a freshman. That was among the top 5 in the conference in the ACC, and maybe not the offensive start for Cozart, but all around a tremendous player.
Well, I happen to think the reason why he is the college catcher that he is today is because he was able to get a lot of reps defensively and offensively his freshman year. He was pretty much their guy behind the dish and an everyday guy in the lineup. So I think that really lent itself to, what he's done, his sophomore year and the start of this year so far.
Cozart wants to follow a long line of Buster Posey Award winners. You think in the ACC now, it's 3 straight years. Matt Nelson of FSU, Parada of Georgia Tech, and then Kyle Teal, who rose up the prospects. He's now in AAA this year, fresh out of Virginia. It's hard to say if Cozart's that next generation, but with his draft year, he could play himself into a first-round pick.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's when you think of a catcher, if you can have a good defensive catcher that's hitting 260, maybe even 270, that's I would consider that a very good catcher. But for you to be hitting above 300, it really speaks volumes.
Good breaking ball there from Van Tassel and a strikeout to begin this second inning. Cozart entered that at bat, hitting .333, which, yes, there's not 15 home runs, but his ability to get on base, that's a good weapon.
Absolutely. And he's not a low powers guy by any means. He's still going to give you probably 10, 12 home runs potentially in the season, which as a catcher, that's a lot more than you would even expect.
There's Jake Bechtel taking a strike. And he slaps one foul. He was high school teammates with Cooper Consiglio down in Palm Harbor, Florida. And he certainly swings with a tremendous leg kick. He gets a lot of torque. And then he gets hit. So a one-out runner on for the Wolfpack. Remember, Jackson Van Tassel had only thrown 2 innings all year. And in this doubleheader, you do wonder, one, how long the leash is, and two, how far he can go.
Luckily, when he came in last inning, he already had an out that was already recorded, so he didn't have to pitch a full inning, but still, I think he's going to be expected really to see how long he can bridge this gap until they bring in another guy.
Good pitch into Serrano. He had one of the 3 hits for NC State, and you see Matt Lynch warming up in the Towson pen. Lynch is from, and I use this in air quotes, but the land of the rising sun. He's from Rising Sun, Maryland. Some great towns outside of Towson, Maryland, just outside the outskirts of Baltimore. One of the historic CAA schools. It's UNC Wilmington, the 2-time CAA champions, College of Charleston and Northeastern, the 2 prohibitive favorites. And an opposite field foul ball for Serrano. Will that be a gift for the kids? Oh, no. Just a gift for the umpire later. Disappointed about 10 kids up that hill.
You try to find that fine line of where to locate this 0-2 pitch. I mean, Serrano's he's a pretty solid 0-2, 1-2 hitter. Anytime he's in a batter's disadvantage count, I think he's been able to historically just fight his way back into a good at bat.
He'll start it right there with a take. Yeah, Serrano with runners on base this year hitting .420. He's got a .400 on base. And I'm curious how he adjusts here in the 6th spot as opposed to the 2-hole.
It's interesting you say that because I look at kind of the 2, 5, and 6 hole to kind of be very, very similar in terms of the pitcher's approach and how they go after these batters. 3, 4, 5, it's at least when I was a pitcher, it was very much these are the guys that can do some serious damage from a powers perspective in the lineup. But Serrano, I mean, we've seen him hit in the 2-hole, we've seen him hit in the 6-hole, and I think that's just because you're trying to replicate what that type of batter is throughout different parts of your lineup. So a guy that's still going to be able to get on, a guy that's going to move runners over, even get RBIs. The power's there, just not as much as some of the guys in the 3, 4, 5 hole.
And he's hitting with more runners on base in this spot. Here on the 3-2, runner moves and he earns a walk. And right to your point, you go from 0-2 to a nice at bat.
Yeah. Well, I mean, especially I would take it as a compliment if you go from the 2-hole back down to the 6-hole, because you look at the guys batting in front of you, you can probably guarantee that there's going to be a number of those guys that are going to be on base by the time you get back up to hit.
So Serrano able to continue this inning. A walk and a hit by pitch. So Chase Nixon digs in the 7 spot. Remember the year Cody Bellinger won the MVP for the Dodgers? He was a 6-hole hitter. Now he had 50 home runs that year, but he was still able to produce from not a traditional power spot.
It's interesting, first base and outfielder too.
Very similar frame to Serrano.
Yeah.
As Nixon works ahead in the count. I still think of the elite college baseball first base center field combos. Chris Bryant, when he was with San Diego, won the Golden Spikes Award. #1 overall pick. I believe that was 15 years ago now, 2008, 2009.
Chris Bryant?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. That sounds about right. No? Maybe 12 years ago? Maybe. No, he was 2012, right?
Yeah, good point. 12 years prior. A dozen. Actually, you know what? 2013 draft.
2013.
June of 2013. Him and Mark Capel went 1-2. Mark Capel had a neat documentary about becoming a quote-unquote bust and how he made his way back. There's a walk to load the bases.
He ended up quitting, and then he actually gave it a shot again. Kind of similar story to Appel, but a local guy down the road that played at Chapel Hill, Daniel Bard, quit for, 7 seasons, I think, or 7 years he wasn't playing baseball, and came back and was able to make it up, I think, with the Rockies, I want to say. Comeback player of the year.
This leads to a bases-loaded jam. The crazy part about the draft and things like that, Andrew Benintendi, who was a throwaway 31st round pick, is now a longtime 10-year starter in the big leagues. It's always hard to find in the major leagues. How you find that developmental prospect? Here at NC State, they've sent 48 to the big leagues, including Patrick Bailey, longtime catcher here at NC State. He's now with the Giants and made a big year last year as a rookie.
Well, I think a lot of that has to do with their development in college. I mean, I know Chris Hart does a really, really good job with the catchers. I know you mentioned Patrick Bailey. You know, their ability to develop at the college level, it really lends itself to them progressing through the minors at a relatively quick pace, too. So I feel like a lot of the guys we see coming out of NC State, they don't spend a whole lot of time playing farm baseball. You know, maybe a 2 or 3 seasons max. We've seen a lot of guys like Trey Turner and Carlos Rodon. It took them, you know, no longer than a season.
Well, James Groover, the highest drafted Wolfpack player this past season. He was a top 5 round pick. Yeah, number 2 overall, 2nd round. You see the Wolfpack in the draft. Kalai Harrison was a sneaky good player as well here at NC State in his 1 year. The Texas A&M transfer. And that ground ball could be 2. There you go. Double play ends it. So Peyton and Williamson flip the double play. That keeps it a 6-0 game. Towson has some work to do offensively when we come back.
I love your place.
Thanks. Could you grab some carrots?
Sure. What's this?
That's for Pepper.
You keep dog food in your fridge?
It's not dog food, it's fresh pet. Real meat, real veggies.
That you feed your dog, so it's dog food.
You were so right about her.
Fresh Pet. It's not dog food, it's food food.
You love pizza just as much as we love pizza. So we're bringing you our favorite offer yet. For a limited time, get a large one-topping pizza for $8.99, only at Papa John's. Better ingredients, better pizza.
All the parts you need at the prices you want. Guaranteed to fit every time. So you can keep your ride or die alive.
The fun faces of doubleheader baseball. You can't start with energy too high on these things. You got to build your stamina over 18 innings today.
This is a marathon. It's not a sprint.
Here in week 3 of the regular season, number 14 NC State up and rolling. So we start the 3rd inning with Sean Adler. I'm Evan Budrovich. Wolfpack won game 1 last night in a tight one, 6-5. And Towson here to begin the 3rd. It's Ryan Williamson, who just turned a double play. It's the 8th double play Towson has turned. And Williamson with some elite forearm. It's very Dustin Pedroia-esque at second base. Small stature, big power, and he smacks one foul. I know baseball players are big into like the curl grips just to get those forearms.
No, Pedroia was definitely, he was a shorter guy, but a lot of meat on his upper half. Another one, like Dan Uglow was another one.
Oh, he had elite arms. Great point. Brett Boone. Now, Uggla had 40 home runs in a season. He was kind of the first power-hitting second baseman. Maybe Jeff Kent, another one, but he was much bigger in stature. And here's the small but mighty Ryan Williamson. 5'9", and he fouls one off. Ryan's grandfather, James, played for the Washington Redskins at the time, 40 years ago. And that one stays down. Dom Fritton with a full count. And Williamson sprays one over there.
And, you know, Fritton's off to a pretty good start. He's mixing well. He's thrown strikes. He's thrown a goose egg so far. But we talk about, you know, both teams in terms of their pitching staff, they have to do what they can to minimize how many guys they use throughout the weekend so they can kind of ration and save. But with Fritton,
that.
help too with Cozart. Cozart, Coach Chris Hart talks about how Cozart's defensive ability is really optimal when it comes to him getting pitches for his pitchers.
Here's Jordan Payton, who moves over from second to short for the weekend. And there's Chris Hart in a battle with his fingernail right now and developing great catchers here at NC State. Because especially come conference play, those defensive strike saves, that really elevates to the next level.
Yeah, absolutely. It not only does it get you that out or that strike, but it's going to save the pitcher's ability to go longer and longer into the game.
Like that pitch there, it is ball 4, but trying to frame the strike.
Yeah. And, the thing is, that could go slightly different if it wasn't a 3-0 count. Like, if we're in a position in the game where Fritton's just pounding the zone, working both sides of the plate, a pitch like that, especially with some help from Cozart, that could be called as a strike 3 compared to, a ball.
This sets up Elijah Dickerson. So what you're saying is, as a pitcher, you're a fan of an umpire. You don't want an automated strike zone.
I mean, I see the value in both, but I think if you're a pitcher that is able to get into your groove and really command the strike zone, the umpire is going to actually reward you with close balls on the black or right off the plate as strikes.
Maybe that pitch right there for strike 1.
But, I mean, on the opposite side of it, if you're having trouble, commanding the strike zone and throwing consistent strikes, a ball kind of on the edge, that could go the opposite way.
We saw that with Russo in the first inning. He had the 5 walks, and there were a couple 3-2 pitches, but really none went his way. And now Cozart will self-time and have a chat here. Get on the same page with his sophomore starter.
I wouldn't be surprised if we saw, a lot of breaking balls in this at bat. He's their only lefty in the lineup, so I mean, I know Fritton's got that breaking ball. They can actually get both guys out, lefties and righties. But if you want to play the matchup game right here, it's going to be hard for you to hit a breaking ball moving away from you if you're a left-handed batter.
That ball sneaks away from Cozart. He tried everything to keep that in front, and a wild pitch. That's an actual train, not a sound effect, just to be clear. Right in the heart of the city of Oaks here in Raleigh. Towson out of the CAA, 11th ever matchup with NC State. But the Tigers have never defeated the Wolfpack. And the 2-1 stays way upstairs. Now you pit these two creatures on Animal Planet and you say man versus wild, tiger versus wolf. I think we're in for a fun battle, and we saw that last night. It was a scratch and claw, 1-game, 1-run difference. Today a little different.
Yeah, it's a little bit more lopsided. I don't see as much intensity. I mean, obviously a close ball game lends itself to there being a lot more guys chattering in the dugout, a lot more eyes paying attention to kind of what's going on in the game.
Yeah, that 6-run first was a big claw on the thorn of the Tigers early. So the 3-2 is drilled to short. And Butterworth there for the second out. Uh-oh. A little extension there from Dickerson, but he's okay. That reminds me in track when you run the 400 meters and you extend yourself at the end.
Trying to get that.
Like you stretch your head out.
Save that extra .0 whatever second.
Yeah, the Usain Bolt sprinting the 100 meters. And watch this photo finish. Oh, he clipped himself.
Looked like he clipped on, or either clipped himself or clipped Pennington.
Big swing here for Bryce Frederick. This ball's got some carry. Frederick carries it out of the yard. A 2-out dinger for the Towson Tigers, who bite back.
And unlike yesterday, I mean, we have a little bit of wind going out, and you have that Dokstrom kind of pushing the ball. I mean, that probably would have went out without any sort of wind assistance, but he saw that ball up, elevated in the zone, was able to get his barrel right around to it. Strong enough batter where...
And yesterday the wind was blowing in. Today it's slightly going out, and that might be the difference. Because as Tony the Tiger would say, that ball is more than good. It's great. Oh, there we go. The magician. That sounds like a Vegas act if I've ever seen one. The Magic Tiger. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. As that ball just floats out of here. Okay, so it's one thing to have the whole cloak and dagger, and then you got the magic hat. I love it. Now, you were a pitcher, but if you and your pitchers were ever to have a, props and things like that, what would you guys use?
Gosh, I mean, we did a lot of little things. Probably stuff I don't even remember, but as we've seen, like, weighted balls and arm care start to become more and more prominent over the past 10, 12 years, we were always just turning the weighted balls into different things. Our armbands were always like necklaces, stuff like that.
There's a 5-pitch walk. I had a thought. Is that any relation, the cloak and dagger there, to Siegfried and Roy? The magical tiger show of Vegas?
Considering they are the Towson Tigers.
I think there may be something to that. We got to ask around.
Weren't those white tigers?
They were, correct. This is more of a golden tiger. Yeah. More of the Mike Tyson variety at Hangover.
There you go.
You know what? Let's drive to Asheboro in the zoo and figure this out ourselves. Pit the wolf and the tiger together for 18 innings of fun. As Dom Fritton pounds the zone. 60 pitches in a doubleheader. If you're Chris Hart and this pitching staff, or Clint Chrysler, that's saying, how many innings do you want out of Dom today?
Well, you look at the guys that they used out of the bullpen yesterday. I wouldn't be surprised if they probably are resting Jackson Lucas.
We'll take the time out and give you more of those answers about the bullpen when we come back.
See everything your retail store can do with tools from Square. Your inventory automatically restocks, so you never run low. Your online store stays open 24/7, so you're always ready to sell. Your payments are processed in seconds, so customers can breeze through checkout. And with one account to manage it all, you've got more time for taking time out. By signing up at square.com today.
SoFi is helping me get my money right to achieve my ambitions. Want to see? Like saving for the ultimate tailgate setup. With SoFi checking and savings, I pay no account fees and earn a competitive APY. SoFi can help you fund all your ambitions, no matter how big or small. Hey, ready? Right. Like investing in the athletes of tomorrow.
Therm Armor of the Day for the Towson Tigers. It's Matt Lynch out of Rising Sun, Maryland. And Matt last year had a 7.3 ERA, very spot relieving efforts, didn't have a ton of outings. This year, though, 3 innings all scoreless. He's pitched in 2 games that were a little out of hand on the scoreboard. What must Matt Lynch do here to keep this a 6-2 game?
You know, I would have said he really just has to be able to do his job and try and lengthen his outing. But I think what we've seen so far with Towson is I don't know if it's turning into a staff day or not, but maybe the approach here is just to give a bunch of guys a little bit amount of baseball to play today so that they're going to be fresh for tomorrow, relatively fresh.
That was a bunt attempt, and it looks like Butterworth held up. Yeah, he did, according to the first base umpire. Dennis Menshaw Jr. That's a great baseball name. Almost as good as Brandon Butterworth. Unless you have slippery fingers, then they call you Butterworth who makes the errors. Good news for the Wolfpack. He's been good at shortstop this year. This ball's driven high to left, but will stay in the yard for Dickerson. And there's the first out.
Just got under it, too. I mean, that real good location on the off speed. I mean, they're probably hard to get on top of that and actually put it over the wall, but was able to mix his off speed in there against a right-handed bat and was able to keep him off balance.
That last home run for Towson last inning, the ball went 367 feet. So he hit it just well enough for the 2-run shot for Bryce Frederick. And now first pitch strike to Noah Souls, who's been walked and hit by a pitch today. He was also caught stealing, got caught in a slippery situation. Good pitch there.
And that was a lot different of a breaking ball than his first one that was for, you know, a called ball. If you're able to have 2 different types of breaking balls where you have a bigger, loopier, you know, curveball or slider, and then one that's a little bit more tighter break, it's a lot easier to throw those 2 different pitches and get the opposition guessing. If you can get that batter not knowing what pitch is coming or what type of breaking ball is coming, extra tool in your toolkit.
Matt Lynch on 2-2, nibbles away. Noah Souls, who has nearly a 1,000 OPS. He's been explosive in this order. 2 home runs, a double. He's already scored 12 times. And hits one softly to first. Oh, wait a second, confusion. And a last-ditched effort from Frederick there for the out.
The biggest thing there is communication. If you're the first baseman that is knowing, hey, I'm going to take this myself, you got to make sure, hey, I got this. I didn't see anything in terms of motioning to the pitcher, hey, this is something I can take. But you just want to make sure you do that so you reduce the confusion.
That all of a sudden turned into a race to first base. Frederick with the home run. He wins the foot race. And then an opposite field pop-up for Pennington. That'll stay in the yard. And 3 quick outs for this Towson bullpen. Much like Friday, Towson hanging around here in Game 2 as we go to the 4th.
Sorry.
No, please, you take it.
No, really, you should.
Take your hand and be. I'm never gonna dance again. Guilty feet have got no.
I know you're going through a lot. I wonder if you know that we can get help. Let's see how far we can go. Love, your mind.
SoFi is helping me get my money right to achieve my ambitions. With SoFi checking and savings, I pay no account fees and earn a competitive APY.
You love pizza just as much as we love pizza. So we're bringing you our favorite offer yet. For a limited time, get a large 1-topping pizza for $8.99, only at Papa John's. Better ingredients, better pizza.
One word, more. At Pat Loeb's Toyota McKinney, shop more cars in stock than ever. Plus, we've got more inventory on the way and arriving daily. You want them? We've got them at Toyota of McKinney. More new Toyotas, more certified pre-owned Toyotas, more used cars, every make and model. More in store for you at Pat Loeb's Toyota McKinney, Highway 75 and 121.
Back here in Raleigh, NC State in the midst of a 10-game homestand. They've won 2 in a row. And the good news, we got Kona Ice on hand today. That's the best way to power through a doubleheader, Sean.
I mean, sun's starting to come out, getting a little bit warmer. We're creeping into the 60s now, so I'd say that constitutes a little bit of frozen ice.
Been told by the staff the Mango Kona Ice is one of the best here at NC State. As we start the 4th inning, thanks for taking a scoop out of your Saturday and joining us here for a doubleheader. Wolfpack scored 6 in the first, but Towson with a 2-run homer is right back within striking distance. I am a fan of the Howling Cows ice cream that's produced here on the agricultural campus at NC State.
It's a fan favorite.
And Tay Robinson fouls one off. Tay had 2 infield singles yesterday, a sac bunt today. Does a lot of the little things right for Towson. Because last year, Robinson, he was a transfer coming in. So this is his first full year making an impact. As Fritton's even the count. Tay Robinson from the College of Charleston. Hits one hard to right. This is looping, and Souls is there to cover it.
Souls did a great job right off. You know, he saw right off the bat that was going to be a soft line drive kind of fly ball. So going in right away is the only chance you had to catch that and create an out.
Souls may not have elite speed, but he can read the ball off the bat really well.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like if you're not fast, as long as you can be quick, at least in your reaction, that's going to make up for the lack of speed that you may not necessarily have compared to other guys.
That's a big right field here at NC State, especially in right center. As pounds at another strike. Another swing and a miss. So Fritton's been able to locate that fastball pretty well.
He's locating the fastball pretty well. I feel like the breaking ball, for the most part, it's been okay. He's had some misses with that, though. I think, you know, with one left-handed bat in the lineup, it would be interesting to see how much he starts to incorporate a third pitch, something that moves away from the right-handed bat. Because, you know, 8 out of 9 guys are going to be on that side of the plate today.
Challenges again on 2-2. And Dom Fritton racking up the strikeouts.
And so far, he's had pretty good success commanding the fastball and beating guys with velocity. So once you start to see them 2-3 times through the lineup, that's when you probably want to start to think, hey, what else can I add into this today to keep them off balance?
That's Dom's 5th strikeout. Nearing his season best at NC State. Chris Akers, who has an elite arm behind the plate. He popped up to center his last time out. Both him and Brian Heckelman will split the duties behind the plate. The chance here for 1-2-3. Oh, Fritton's feeling it with a hater. Give him 6. And the sophomore lefty is cooking here in game 1 of this doubleheader. There's your delivery. A special scoop of Kona Ice and 6 Ks.
Keep climbing to the top, yeah, I'm crushing it, crushing it. I'm on my way now. It's my better self. I found
Finding your healthy has never been easier. Start with Sprouts.
Be right there. Wait. Use the shovel and bucket of water, remember? Drown, stir, drown, feel. Then make sure it's cool.
Where'd you learn that?
SmokeyBear.com. Brushed up on some tips before we left. Don't want to start a wildfire, right?
Only you can prevent wildfires.
SoFi is helping me get my money right to achieve my ambitions. With SoFi checking and savings, I pay no account fees and earn a competitive APY.
Oh man, I can't believe I'm missing this. Okay, Grandma. I see you.
Don't get stuck at home with the flu. A flu shot is the best way to prevent the flu and its potentially serious complications. It keeps you, your community, and loved ones protected. Don't get flu FOMO. Learn more at getmyflushot.org.
Alec Makarevich anchors in elite transfer class, number 12 in the country. Wake Forest brought in the best class in the country. But you see there with Pennington and AMAC, tremendous power offensively for NC State coming in.
Yeah, absolutely. I think NC State's definitely taken advantage this past offseason of the transfer portal. It's not just freshmen coming in that NC State does a really good job of, but it's being able to find talent that already exists in the college realm.
Makarevich rolls one to short, and there's a quick out to start the fourth. But 4 full-time starters have come in via the portal.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
In a year where you lose your starting catcher to Tennessee, there were some whole starting center fielder graduates. You have to fill some positions.
Well, it's so crazy to think over the past couple of years with the implementation of this portal how different your roster is from year to year. I feel like it makes it even more difficult on your coaching staff in terms of planning and preparing for the next season or 2 seasons from now, where I feel like 5-10 years ago, it's all right, so we're going to have these guys for the next couple of years. Who do we need to get to fill some of these gaps? Now you really have to plan. You can't plan any further than, the existing season.
Here's Jacob Cozart, the 3-year starter behind the plate. Ooh, hits his own coach. That's a lap around the park if you're Cozart.
Oh, yeah.
I think Chris Hart will exact his revenge later in the day. Bet if he hits a home run, there'll be a nice shove in the back on his way to the plate.
There you go. Probably.
Cozart lays off the breaking ball from Matt Lynch. Well, he tried to Olay it, and he got his left foot. Cozart staying alive.
To Towson's credit, Lynch has done a really good job. Last inning was super efficient. This inning, he's been able to get ahead against Cozart, so he's definitely pounding the zone. We haven't seen NC State today, or even yesterday, really get into kind of a hitting groove. And I think that has a lot to do with the fact that when you have a pitching staff that's not consistently throwing strikes and they're walking a lot of guys, a lot of free passes, it's hard for the opposition that's hitting to really see quality pitches. So I think what Lynch has an advantage of right now is that NC State hasn't been able to get in their hitting groove before he came up to the mound.
Cozart has spoiled 5 straight pitches. You see all the tools here for a top 10 prospect. It's been 2 years since Will Wilson was their last first-round pick here in Raleigh from the college ranks. So the 2-2 off the end of the bat. Cozart's got tremendous power, and there you go. Jacob Cozart hits his coach. A couple pitches later, he hits a yard.
Even a pitch that wasn't like totally money, that's something you can really do damage against. He's so strong that you just get the bat out there with someone with his strength and his athleticism, and he's someone that's going to make that hurt. The miss has to be a really, really big miss. It can't just be, semi-small.
That just shows you the power there from a knee to hit that out.
But you look at guys at the next level, so pro ball in the big leagues. You know, you have guys that are going to be able to put the ball over the wall, and it doesn't have to be just a gimme right over the plate pitch. I mean, they can hit really good pitches over the wall. So I feel like from a scouting perspective, a lot of scouts look at someone like Cozart and think, all right, he's someone that you have a pitcher that's pitching around the zone and not putting a fastball over the middle or the heart of the plate. And if you can still do something.
And I think the comp is Adley Rutschman, who led the big leagues from the catching position, 20 home runs last year. Now, he was a #1 overall pick, but you see Cozart, a projected first-round talent from the left-handed side to make things happen like that. And a good play over there at first for Frederick to keep his feet.
And it's funny, the biggest thing I see with Cozart is consistency. I mean, I honestly think as good of a hitter as he is, he's been somewhat overshadowed the first, 7-8 games of the season because we've had guys with multi-home run games. So like Makarevich or I think it was Hevner, the first weekend. Cozart's just been consistently getting on base with hits and, a home run here and there ever since the start of the season.
Here's Serrano testing the defense. Good throw, but a bit late. And Eli Serrano, the speedster, beats it out.
It helps to be on the left side of the plate, and when you're 6'6" and you have legs as long as that, you're just naturally going to be getting down the line a little bit faster and a little bit quicker than most guys.
So he has 2 hits today and a walk, and look at this effort out of the box.
That's a great bunt, too, forcing the pitcher to come off the mound and really go towards the foul line.
So Eli Serrano with a multi-hit game. Here's Chase Nixon. One thing with Serrano, the coaching staff mentioned, the added 15 to 20 pounds he put on. He's always tall and lanky, but you add athleticism with a little bit of strength.
Oh, yeah. Well, what that does is with a little bit more strength and a little bit more meat on your bones, maybe something last year that was more of a soft ground ball in the hole that an infielder can get. Now it's actually getting through the hole. Now a ball in the gap that's would normally be a single, he's probably getting an extra base on that. A ball at the warning track is now a ball over the wall.
Serrano's reached base in every game this year. And here's Chase Nixon, who kickstart that 6-run first inning. And clearly the speed threat of Serrano is drawing a lot of attention. You wonder when the green light is. Will he go in this at-bat? Not on that pitch. But you see a result like that, and it kind of justifies the base running.
Absolutely. And I mean, it's a 5-run game, and it's still relatively early. We're not halfway done with this game by any means. And Towson, from the offensive perspective, they're hungry. They're very aggressive if you're throwing strikes. So we saw what happened yesterday. They were able to tie it up in the top of the 9. So who's to say they can't do that again?
That was a 6-5 game yesterday. Towson scored